Well, the world is a dumpster fire. Nothing here makes sense. And you vacillate to crippling fear, constant self-defense. And nothing's right and nothing's good. And you're paralyzed with grief. Don't kill yourself, just have a cup of coffee. Welcome to
Let's Laugh About
Suicide, the dramedy podcast that celebrates life
While Contemplating the Inevitable.
one cup of coffee at a time.
See what we did there?
I'm your host number one, Chris Parker Howard.
And I'm your host that's not taking a number two, but is number two, Tim Rooney.
Keeping it classy.
Keeping it classy.
So this is going to be an interesting episode if you subscribe to both podcasts.
I made a poop joke, so what?
Yeah, if you
Okay.
subscribe to both, then you're gonna get this twice.
Yes.
So you can listen to the other one, in another room while you're listening to this one. Put them on in stereo. It'll
Stereo.
be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be kind of more of an emotional weather report, if you will, of Tim and I just kind of going over some stuff. We've both kind of been kind of down and kind of lost and sort of in the middle of things, and thought, what better way to exercise a conversation of friendship than publicly?
Yeah.
So,
And we decided to, just kind of, air out our dirty laundry to some degree and explain, I myself am taking a little bit of a hiatus, so this will at least be something for my listeners to be able to listen to. Chris is still going.
for now, yeah.
He's rubbing it in my face. That's fine.
My hiatus is not over until December, or not beginning until December.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So that's gonna be interesting, and then I'm gonna have even more news to talk about that I'm not really ready to go live with just yet. But why not bring it up and then not talk about it like some kind of asshole?
No, that's fine. Because it's like, there's one thing that I love is like when you go to, say, a magic show.
Yeah.
And they say they're going to make a great white whale, show up in the middle of the room, and they don't, So
Right.
you're kind of excited for a moment. And
In a
then
way, I did talk about a great white whale in this episode.
Yeah, you did. Totally.
Yeah. And then me.
Yes.
We do love each other, so we're able to talk to each other this way. And I think that matters. I think it's good to have people that you can rely on when things are going sideways in your life.
Yes.
And so, I think you'll enjoy this episode from my end.
And my end, you'll just be, it'll exist. So, no, but seriously, this intro really is weird because it almost seems like it's just an extension of the podcast episode.
Yeah. So we should just shut up.
We're going to shut up now.
That's that. So enjoy. This is my conversation with Tim Rooney.
And this is my conversation with Chris Howard.
We are. This is it. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're on.
This is Get that.
Yeah, let me
right
get the
up,
microphone
right up at
in,
your face.
in my face.
Yeah, just go ahead and eat it.
There we go. Okay, it wasn't turning. Got it.
Yeah, we need this like right
Right
your
there.
face.
Okay.
That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're off to a great start.
Yeah, this is a pretty good episode. So.
Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And wait, no, we had a thing to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this episode's going to be a little different maybe than some of the past episodes, because there's going to be a little bit of a back and forth. This is a split that is going to be both a Let's Laugh About Death and a Coffee Over Suicide crossover.
Yeah. This is Marvel meets DC. and I'm going to have to let Chris have the Marvel title.
Well, no, I mean, if it's DC, I'm Plastic Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if it's Marvel, then I'm Squirrel Girl. So
I like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
Plastic Man and Squirrel Girl, right again.
Actually, you know what? I was reading an interesting article one time where it was like, who are the most powerful characters. Not that this is going to all of a sudden turn into us like a geek podcast, but you know, I mean, shit, we are geeks. So
turn into?
Yeah, true. Or focus on.
Yeah.
But they actually listed Squirrel Girl as like one of the most powerful because she can control all squirrels kind of thing. You know,
right.
And it's like, I was like, that's interesting. I wasn't even familiar with the character because I'm not a big comic geek, but
yeah, that's not nothing.
No. I mean,
so why don't we do this? We'll start on this side of the table because I was the first person to talk. So technically, I guess I won the coin toss.
Yeah.
Let me start by asking you some stuff.
Cool.
So you are the host of Let's Laugh About Death, the sister podcast on the Randomify Network, and you had to take an unexpected hiatus. What happened?
Well, I had a severe case of life, and you know, shit happens. Just craziness at work. Won't go into the details much, but basically the thing that we had all been culminating to for the last 9 months, we weren't 100% ready for it, but it ended up happening, and so it was kind of like, okay, let's, you know, patch the leaks in the roof and figure out where the holes are, and it was just doing a lot of that kind of stuff. It's better now, so that's good. But one day when I had to work on a day off, when we were preparing for all this, I was working from home, and I had, we used to have 4 cats, okay, and 2 of them had died a while back, and we moved out to Colorado here with 2 cats and a dog, and the one cat was my buddy. He was the best cat I've ever had. I've had, probably 10 cats or so in my life, maybe more, I don't know. And this one was like, he was like a dog, you know, he would greet me when I came home, that kind of stuff, you know, and, he was getting they were both getting up there in age, and, you know, we knew they didn't have a lot of time left. He had some kidney issues and stuff for the last couple of years, and we prolonged his life with a quality of life, not just for our own selfish purposes of, hey, we can have our pet around, but, there was one day where he just wasn't looking so good, and my wife went, and she's like, you know, keep an eye on Saturn was his name. Keep an eye on Saturn. And so I'm working from home, and I keep focusing on my cat. And basically, I was watching my cat die while I'm on this meeting that I really could give 2 shits about. And
the meeting, not the cat.
Yeah, the meeting. The meeting.
Yeah, the meeting you could not give 2 shits about.
No, but and we joke about it. You know, we have to joke about it because, I mean, shit, that's what my podcast is about. But
yeah,
we, you know, it was really hard to watch, you know, be like texting my wife going, honey, we got to take him in, you know. So, and we were able to hold off a little bit. You know, I was able to chill with him on the bed with her and him for, you know, about an hour or so. And then we waited till Aiden got home, let him say goodbye, and then we took him in. And it was just, you know, the way we had to take him in, we had to trick him into getting into the cat carrier, which I hated. You know, the place he hated the most, of course, was the vet, which most pets do, but, you know, some pets don't have a problem with it so much, and, just, you know, having to watch him go, you know, that bothered me, and then, so we had the last cat left, and he ended up going on, like, 2 weeks later, and so, you know, and it's one of those things where it's like, we chose to keep all their ashes, and we made a joke at one time, where, you know, we had 2 of them up on the wall. We have them like on a shelf, and you know, and I made a joke. You know, it's like, hey, we're gonna have a full set sometime. You know, and sure enough, you know, we got the one cat's ashes, and it's like we got a full set. You know, and
got to catch them all.
Exactly. You know, so and that's kind of you know
the lead catcher on Pokemon was Ash. So there you go. It's very perfect.
Perfect. So yeah, we've got a shelf with 4 Poke boxes. You know, they're not as colorful, but they're, you know, they got the names of the monster on there and everything, so.
Yeah,
but
that's not nothing.
No, but, you know, and I'm glad that they're not suffering, you know, and that's what any...
Well, ashes don't suffer.
If they're snorted, you know, and that's something we are thinking about doing is on their anniversaries, you know, we might just snort a little bit, but, you know, but seriously...
Make it festive.
Yeah. It's
put the fun back in funeral.
Exactly. Put them in a confetti launcher and just blast them out. But no, I really though.
That's a terrible birthday.
On the birthday cake, it could be like, oh, we got a little bit of
take
Saturn
him to a
on
hockey game, throw him on the ice. Boo!
Hey, if Detroit could do octopus,
Right,
and we could throw cat ashes out there. But no, so that hit me.
So that took up some time.
Yeah, it took up time because
you were supposed to do an interview that day, right?
Oddly, I was supposed to do an interview both days. So I had an interview that was scheduled on the One Cats day that I was watching them die, and that never got rescheduled. I don't know, and whatever. And then I canceled twice on somebody, and I apologize to him, and I'll get him on the podcast. But there was one thing I had to cancel for other reasons, and then there was another thing that I canceled for just because I was depressed. A week later, and it was like, you know what, I just don't have it in me, and so he understood. So he's very cool. So we'll get him on there at some point, but. It was at that moment where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take a break. I got only 17 episodes, but, again, that ain't nothing. And
yeah, it's not.
It's a good place to stop. Most TV shows only go 10, so I go, 17 episodes. I'll take a little hiatus. And that's all it is. I'm not done. In fact, I'm planning on recording some episodes, or at least one long mega episode when I go back for our 10th movie with the Haunted Saginaw series. So I'm going to try and interview some of the people involved in that. One of the guys from Ghost Hunters, that kind of stuff. It'd be interesting to get his perspective on what he thinks happens when we die,
I bet you it involves ghosts.
Probably. Or Parcheesi, one of the two.
Or ghost cheesy.
Ghost cheesy, yes. In fact, there's a theory.
Yuck.
There's a theory that part of the reason why ghosts exist is because they have unfinished business, and maybe they like playing Parcheesi. Who knows? Maybe that's what he'll tell me.
But there's a lot to unpack there. That's a lot to do. So, I mean, how is that going to feel to go back to Saginaw and be a part of this thing that, was so important to you for so long? It's got to be a little bit like... the Beatles letting Stu Sutcliffe come to town. You know what I mean? Look at that.
Yeah. It's like, oh, hey. Well, I mean, in all honesty, the thing has been a success for, at least in Saginaw, for the last 10 years. We've had 4,000 people show up every year, like clockwork. And it's really incredible, And I do look forward to going and getting up on stage, and it's fun to have the crowd cheering and all that kind of stuff because they genuinely get into it. This is going to be a slightly different experience because I haven't seen the whole movie.
Yeah.
The previous ones, I would see it either if I was helping edit or, at least seeing a pre-screening in the earlier films. We had another guy who was assisting Prozac with the editing, Steve. And, now the last few movies... I was more in there with him, so I got a real hands-on feel of him. And this one, he showed me some scenes, over webcam, and it's going to be neat because there's going to be stuff I have not seen. You know? It was like I wasn't in the last movie, so we've had 10 movies, and I wasn't in number 9, and so the first time I saw it was on Amazon Prime, and I'm just like, this is pretty wild, to watch it for the first time. So I had no idea what to expect. And so, yeah, it's definitely a Stu Sutcliffe kind of thing where I'm not really, I'm a member, but I'm a satellite member now, you know? So, and I know he would have no problem being like, yeah, come on back, and being something or whatever, but I just can't. It's not like before where, it would be 3, 4, 5 months of editing.
Well, because this takes a long time to compile.
Oh, God,
I mean, like, it's almost like with a documentary. I mean, there's only so much of having cameras running for 12 hours at a time, before you finally get 4 seconds of something of what the fuck was that?
Absolutely. So it's like you're going through and you're filtering through, 90 hours or more or whatever of footage.
It's a full-time job with overtime.
Absolutely.
On top of people's full-time jobs.
Yeah. I mean, we were when we would edit, it would be shit. When I was editing I was assisting editing with him because he puts in more time than I do. When I was assisting him with it, it was nothing to put in, a month or two straight of 16-hour days.
Yeah.
I would get there. It was like walk in, start editing, leave, go home, go to bed, wake up, go back. 7 o'clock in the morning we're finishing, and we're starting up at 5 p.m. And all we did was just, edit. But it's exhilarating though to see the efforts and to see people's excitement, because we've had people last year. They had people come from England to Saginaw, Michigan, to check out one of these films just to be part of it.
Wow.
Yeah, we get a lot of people from all over the country. I've got fans myself in other parts of the world, Netherlands and things like that, where they hit me up every once in a while, and it's just neat.
Yeah.
But
it's fun to be able to know that you've crossed some sort of cultural barrier.
Totally. And in fact, I think a couple of them are listening to the Let's Laugh About Death podcast.
Nice.
So that's cool. It's neat. So, and I was going to announce the Let's Laugh About Death podcast at the premiere, but I decided, if I'm in the middle of a hiatus, that might be a bad time. I mean, it would be a great opportunity, but
well, just tell them it's coming back in 2020.
Yeah, maybe. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll just make an announcement on stage.
2020 is not far from here, my friend.
No, it's like 6 weeks or whatever. So
yeah, it's right around the corner.
Totally. So yeah, it's something that I enjoy doing the podcast. The hardest part is just getting guests, and I'm a little lazy on that, admittedly. But and it was just a case of, with all the life happening, and I had ran out of recorded episodes, and I just didn't have it in me to push on. And so, and it's not like I dread doing the talking. It's not like I dread talking to the people. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
The hardest part is just finding people. And so that's something I'm going to take a different approach at. And, yeah.
Well, it's not even so much necessarily of finding people, but I mean, there is a certain level of quality. You know what I mean? Like there's a level of, because you don't want to just talk to, I've often said that the best podcast guest is the person who says yes. Mm-hmm. But there's an asterisk by that.
Yeah.
Because some pretty bland fucking people can say yes. and then, you're trying to spin silk out of this straw. And, it's, everybody's got at least a couple of interesting stories.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And so, I think there's something to be learned, even from the ones that are, say, less than exciting. Mm-hmm. There's something to be learned from that, and there's kind of a value in keeping you on your toes as trying to be someone who can keep things entertaining for the audience.
Yeah,
but that's fucking work.
It is work. Well, and the guy who canceled on me, he, I told him, I was like, hey man, I just don't have it in me, and he even said, he was like, well, I don't know what it's going to be, in terms of an episode. And I was like, hey, man, it'll be fine. We'll go ahead. We'll make something out of it. And he goes, and I took this as a huge compliment. He goes, yeah, but you have an ability to make the dictionary interesting. And I'm like, well, thank you. So I genuinely took that as a huge compliment. So if he's listening to this, yeah.
Well, and you do have that ability, and that's what makes you a good host. The ability to stretch and, kind of pick things up and follow the threads wherever they're going.
Totally.
The trouble with something like that, when you get someone who needs some direction, mm-hmm. it's not so much that maybe they're a bad storyteller or a bad guest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can be, if you're not completely checked in, you might not be directing them in the way they need to be directed.
Absolutely.
It's almost like when you're talking to somebody who's kind of green. Mm-hmm. It's like you're trying to direct a little kid in a movie.
Yeah.
You see that Jake Lloyd kid in the Phantom Menace. Yippee!
Yeah.
It's a lack of direction. Yeah. I'm sure that kid was fine. He was in other movies and he was fine.
Absolutely.
But in that movie, don't get me started on Star Wars. But the point is, when you're the host, mm-hmm. you got to host. You got to facilitate. And if you catch yourself checked out, it's going to come through. And
totally.
Believe me, I've even had people where I was having a day, and it was like, well, hopefully the guest helps me find it today.
Yeah, that is true. That is true, and I guess I didn't want to have to put that on this particular person, because I figured, you know what, rather than wasting their time, I gave them enough of a heads up to be like, hey, I don't have it in me today.
Well, tell me a little bit about, let's celebrate these 17 episodes that you got in. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about what you've learned over the course of making this show.
Well, I learned the technical side of it. I was terrified the first time. I still have to consult to my notes because, like I said, I've got the memory of a starfish, but I'm able to move through it a lot quicker now. I've gotten better at being able to direct, if you will.
Yeah.
Because I always make it a point. Every episode comes down to the question, what do you think happens when we die? We could sit there and talk about, corn chips and all that kind of stuff, but as long as it comes back to, okay, fine, what do you think? I don't care. You like ranch? Good, great. So what do you think happens when we die? You know? And it's like, that's the thing. And I don't do it that abrupt, but sometimes I have. I mean, hell, with you, it was like right out the gate. It was
the first question you asked me.
Exactly. Because I was green. And
honestly, that kind of made it interesting. I mean, there is a certain instinct that was within you.
Totally.
The only rule about the rules is that, once in a while you got to break them.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yes.
So it's funny that we're doing all this inside baseball, like for absolutely no one. Nobody gives a shit about this.
No, but
what did you learn? What did you learn, like, existentially? Because you have to have heard a whole lot of different viewpoints. I mean, I remember you came to me saying, "I'm going to ask that same question every episode. How is that going to stay interesting? You want to tell me how it stayed interesting?"
Honestly, the way it stayed interesting. Well, there was one of the guests. I'm keeping everybody anonymous at this point. There was one of the guests who said something that I've brought up in several episodes later that it hit me almost like a fucking bag of potatoes. Not anything to do with... We'll get into that. Anyway, hit me in the face like a bag of potatoes where it was like, holy shit, I never thought about that. I never put it in that perspective. And that was, she says, that we were talking about how, some people say, oh, there was nothing when I came close to death and I saw nothing. And other people, they see the blinding light, and other people, they see dead relatives, and other people, they see, I don't know, Teletubbies or whatever. But she was saying, everybody's life is different, so why should everybody's death be the same? And I was like, mind blown. I'm like, holy shit.
That changes everything.
That changes everything. I mean, for all we know, when some people die, they see things from their culture that comes and sees them, and it's all. And when you think about it in that context, it's like, okay, why would I see geisha girls, for example?
Yeah.
Whereas, I with my upbringing and everything, you could go back ancestrally and say, well, the Irish, et cetera, I might see, bagpipes and Gaelic dancers and all that, and it's like, well, but my mind knows United States in the 70s to present kind of thing. So my mind would be, video games and, whatever, Star Wars and shit like that, if it's going to be things from my subconscious, or it's going to be relatives that I knew. And it's like, when you think about it in that context, it's like, yeah, why would everybody's, life be the same? I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be flashbacks. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same kind of journey. I mean, think of how many times or how many different ways you can get to work.
Yeah.
You can take a bus, you can take a train, you can, ride piggyback, whatever. But this would be that same kind of journey. So who says that there's only one way to get to the end point? And I'm just like, it's all this stuff comes back flying to me and all that. And it's like, yeah, existentially, I've learned a ton. Everybody, of those 17 people, every single person has had at least one different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Or something interesting about it that is different from everybody else.
Right.
So, I've had some people say, nothing happens. And it's like, okay, well, expand on that. And then they were like, well, our soul, how did they put it? Our identity is gone. So therefore, we're gone. And it's like, okay, but you're still there. You're just not an individual. And it's like, okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it. So there's just a lot of cool...
The drips go back to the ocean.
Go back to the ocean, exactly. Yeah. And so it's like, it's one of those things where it's definitely been rewarding doing it. And I guess a lot of it comes down to, I wanted to do the show justice, and I just didn't want to start putting out shit.
Right.
I didn't want this to be one of those albums where it's like, well, they were great until he started doing heroin, that kind of thing.
Well, usually it's the other way. They were great until he got sober.
Until he got sober, yeah. That's usually the case. But, it's like I didn't want to do that to the show. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to just phone it in.
Yeah, if you can't give it your 100%, it's time to reevaluate.
Totally.
Now, that said,
Mm-hmm.
I think this segues pretty perfectly into me having to talk about where I'm at.
Yes. So now we're going to slowly bring up the whole potatoes thing. That'll be coming up soon. Wait for it. But
for those of you who are so excited to hear about where this potato metaphor is coming from. Oh, you lucky so-and-so.
So now,
let's turn the tables. Yeah,
yep.
You're interviewing me now.
Okay, so tell me what...
Not like that.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
Please tell me. No, but we'll come right out the gate. So what happened?
Wow. Okay. So this is the easy version. If you want to know I guess some of the more immediate thoughts that I had on this, you can go back and listen to the season premiere where I talked to Alf and I talked about going through a crazy depression and getting on medication. That was back in April.
Yeah.
So, and April was when I was finally starting to feel like a human being. Really, honestly, I was driving down the highway with my eyes closed in February. I mean, it was just like, and it wasn't even a sadness. It was just a complete void. It was an emptiness. And that terrified me. So I was like, all right, well, I'm clearly not making enough of the right chemicals. Store-bought's okay. So I went to I didn't even go to a psychiatrist because I wanted this to be, possibly temporary.
Yeah.
So I just went to my family doctor and, I filled out the form where, they go through all the stuff and it's like, do you feel little or no pleasure in things you used to enjoy on a scale of 1 to 10? And I wrote a 12. So, and I thought they'd think it was funny. I really did that.
Did they think it was funny?
And nobody commented. So,
They're like, oh, only a 12. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look at this guy. I got another 12.
Yeah.
But I started taking medication, and the medication did its job.
Okay.
And it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It really helped me get over the hump. It did everything it needed to do. But the caveat to that is with any medication, there's diminishing returns.
Yeah.
And so after a certain point, you've got to make a decision whether you want to up your dosage to stay level or quit.
Yeah.
And I decided to quit.
And when did you decide to make? When did you? I was going to say decide to make that decision. That's stupid. When did you make that decision?
For one, that's not stupid. That's a
that's
perfectly
true.
acceptable
You do
sentence.
have to. You have to come to
to
the decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to make a decision to decide.
To decide. Yeah. No, that's true.
So yeah, I made the decision to decide. Okay, you know what? I take it back. That is stupid.
That's pretty dumb. That's like I did the thing with the thing. I
was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt until words.
Come on.
But so this is where we are now. It was probably I started weaning myself off of it right around October.
Okay.
The trouble also with all of this too, along with the medicine having diminishing returns, is that one of the returns it was having was on my weight. And it was returning very well in that regard. So I'm typically, when I look, typically when I'm not paying attention to anything, if I'm not watching my diet and whatever, and I'm not exercising harder than I normally do, I rock around 180.
Jeez.
And that's my typical place to live.
Yeah, that's like my goal weight.
I'm a little... I don't have any abs or anything. I'm a little doughy in the middle, but I'm not over my belt. You know what I mean?
See, I'm happy when I go from not morbidly obese to just obese. That's an accomplishment.
These are my good for you pants. These are the ones I can wear with a button. Not just a belt.
I don't need, yeah, exactly.
And I know how that works now because I got myself all the way up to over 230 pounds.
Yeah,
and I'm 5'9".
Yeah,
so that's crazy.
Well, that's my neighborhood right there.
Yeah.
But I mean, and again, it's one of those things where it's like I just always rock around in that.
Yeah.
But I have one thing that you have going for you is you have a clear, defined, definitive. You know what caused it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I'm pretty sure.
And
it was a combination of a couple of things, and let me tell you what those two things are.
Yes.
Thing number one, I believe, and I believe this completely. I believe that the SSRI that I was taking.
And what is an SSRI?
It's a serotonin uptake inhibitor. I forget what the actual
acronym.
Yeah,
okay.
I forget exactly what that means. Because I'm no doctor, and I didn't bother. I knew it once, I forgot it. I used to know HTML code too. I don't know that anymore either.
Well,
the thing is, so what it does is you're not producing serotonin regularly enough, and so you're just constantly in a depressive state. Now, obviously, I'm bipolar, and I've been very open about that on the show.
Oh, yeah. That's what your show is about.
Yeah. I should not be on an antidepressant. I should be on, lithium or some kind of mood stabilizer to try to...
I don't know why I laughed at that.
Just combat the effects of that. But I don't want to do that. I want to ride the roller coaster.
Totally.
I'm this tall. I should ride. So I'm taking this, and the problem with medications that mess with your serotonin is that your serotonin is directly connected to metabolism. Now,
gotcha.
I was on a pretty mild dose, but I can honestly say that once the depression was over and I started to get active again, running, skateboarding, general exercise. I walk. I don't think I've taken an elevator in years.
Damn.
I always take the stairs. I work on the third floor of my building, and it's like that's just how I live. I live pretty active. And I just kept seeing my weight go up and up.
Yeah.
And so I started changing my diet. My weight just kept going up and up. Now,
that's scary.
The other piece of that is that as I was starting to get sad about how fat I got, and the medication started to wear off, and it started to not be doing its job quite as much anymore. There is that thing that you get if you're a clinically depressed person where you can't handle silence. And so I can't handle silence in any way, shape, or form. I've got to have a fan running. I've got to have noise on my phone playing or something. Or I can't sleep.
Why is that?
Because otherwise, I'm going to talk to me. And everything that I'm not doing right in my life is going to be there for me to try to unpack at the end of the day. Like, this is everything you didn't get accomplished. This is where you're a failure. This is where it's all going wrong.
Okay.
These are all the things that you have to worry about, and this is why you suck. And
interesting.
Yeah. So that comes in to fill the silence.
Yeah.
Unless there's something there to focus on instead of that.
Gotcha.
The other thing that helps silence those voices is wine. And apparently, lots of it.
Yeah.
So I was drinking no longer just socially or for fun, but I was drinking just so I could go to sleep. I mean, it was the equivalent of taking like a Tylenol PM.
Yeah.
Only it was, by the end there, sometimes it was a full bottle of wine.
Damn.
With, no drunkenness or hangovers.
So it wasn't even fun. It was strictly medicating.
It was relaxing. It was nice.
Yeah.
Wine tastes delicious. It's good. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I was using it like a utility.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It was medicinal as opposed to recreational kind of thing.
Completely.
Yeah.
It's like, you might like the effects that you get from the Flintstones vitamins, but if you're just chewing on them because you like the way they taste.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a very good point.
Yeah. it was kind of that. And so a combination of factors. So I saw my doctor. I said, I'm off the medication. My brain is a little fuzzy. And she said, yeah, that's going to last maybe, a week or so, or sometimes a little longer, depending on how long you've been taking it.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like shit for a little while. And, if whatever you're doing doesn't work, we'll just take you out back and shoot you. And
okay,
yeah,
but it's a final solution. I mean, it's one of those things. Not to be mistaken. Never mind. That's a bad topic.
But
so.
We're not going there.
We're not going there.
I am 6% Jewish, so I'm a little offended by that.
Are you really?
Yeah, I am.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you didn't catch it from the Jufro and the nose?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yes.
I can say that. They're my people.
They're your people.
I'm chosen.
I don't, yes.
I was chosen last because I'm only 6%.
You're only 6%.
But, they didn't call me over for kickball. Oh, boy. This is really going off the rails.
Yeah,
So, to get this back on track.
Yes.
Essentially, I decided I just gotta quit drinking, at home. And I've gone out a couple of times since then and didn't feel the need to do it out either.
Yeah.
But, it was one of those things where I got to just start paying attention again. It was like a real wake up call.
Okay.
Like, hey, you've got to pay attention because you've been doing a lot of things sort of mindlessly. And that said, I got excited.
Okay.
When podcastguest.com kind of picked me for whatever reason.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and to sort of run with it, and they gave me a shot, and I ran with it, and a bunch of people wanted to do the show.
I just got to point out, I did that whole thing where you can tell somebody's taking a sip because they go, I always find that fascinating. In a minute way. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
But I got this list of people who wanted to do the show.
Yeah.
And so
a lot of them I remember.
Yeah. So, the first day it was like 30 people.
That's fucking crazy.
And then it just kind of kept picking up a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
And so I just reached out to everybody, said, "Hey, love to have you on the show. Here's my calendar." And 40 people booked. And
damn.
So my August and September, I was recording every other day, sometimes 2 episodes a day, and I got lost.
Yeah, I do remember you being pretty overwhelmed.
Yeah,
during that
I
time
couldn't
period.
remember. I'd be looking at my release schedule, and I would, because I had it all scheduled out, and I'd look at my calendar, and I wouldn't know who that person was, what we talked about. I would have absolutely zero memory of any of it until I saw a picture of their face. Sometimes that was what it did. Sometimes I saw a picture of their face and I went, I still don't know who that is.
Yeah.
And I had to listen to part of the episode
before
I would remember. Who was this? What did we talk about? And so it was that thing of, when it came time to do the intros and outros for the episodes, not that I've ever been a consummate professional, but there have been a couple where, they just went off the rails, and I said, "Hey, that's bananas, but we're keeping it, so enjoy that."
Yeah. Well, and that you bring
it's
up
just
an
a lot of
interesting
work,
point.
and then getting I used to do a thing where about a week before the episode would drop, I would have all of the links worked out, I'd have the artwork worked out, and I would contact the guest. I would see if they had any changes, and I would pass all of this stuff in front of them and see what they thought, and then now with how fuzzy things have kind of been. It's been, I forgot. I'm putting this up tomorrow. And I just made the flyer 20 minutes ago. And it's 9:00 at night.
Yeah.
And so if you don't respond to this in the next 5 minutes, this is what's going live.
Yeah.
So I hope you're okay. And there have been a couple where it was like, no, you got to change something. It's like, oh shit.
With the photo or something?
Yeah. Change the photo.
Okay.
Or, the photo's the hardest part.
Yeah.
But, But, no big deal. So kind of to bring it all around to answer that question, I hit myself with a sack of potatoes because I've decided.
I'm wheezing. Sorry.
To well, that's okay, Weezer. Say it ain't so. I've decided that I'm going to do something drastic. You know, being ever the person who kind of does like a small amount of research to make sure it's okay, and then jumps.
Gotcha.
That's me. I think I can build a podcast room.
I
think it'll be $400.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, but you know what though?
Go.
I am so fucking proud of us for this room.
So am I.
It really turned out pretty fucking great.
But I mean, this is one of the benefits of doing just enough research to get yourself in hot water.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't like paint ourselves into a corner because there was no corner.
Yeah. No, we did. We literally did. When we were building and we started to put the walls up and we realized they didn't line up right.
Yeah.
And then it was, okay, how do we restructure this so that works?
Well, we started doing research halfway through.
Yes. Yeah. It started with an idea.
Yeah.
Much like this. So I've got all of this weight to lose. I'm like about 50 pounds before I'm comfortable.
Comfortable, yeah.
And I was like, I got to get rid of this right away because it's making me incredibly unhappy. And I realized like it hasn't stopped me from doing any of the stuff I want to do. I found out there's a skate park just down the street from my house, and I've been going.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going skateboarding.
Very cool.
And sucking at it.
Well,
because now I'm a fat guy.
Yeah.
And being a fat guy trying to ollie, it's goddamn hard. I have all of this weight to lift into the air. And it's hard. But I'm doing it. I'm going to the skate park. I'm running. I'm wheezing and sweating.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of that. But I'm running. It hasn't stopped me, but it's made everything unpleasant.
Speaking as a lifetime fat guy, that has been.
Do you have a handbook for the recently?
Yes. Could I interest you in fatness?
Handbook for the recently engorged. That's the word. I was looking for a word.
No, that's very challenging. One of the hardest steps is, at least here's the difference. Is I remember one time watching a video of a guy who purposely was like, I'm in shape. And I'm going to start eating like shit and gain 75 pounds and then lose it. So you can see that you can do it too. And I'm like, yeah, that's a cool idea. But your body knows what it's like to be fit and healthy, And so it's going to kind of morph back into that. It's like, okay, well, I know it's in here. Or at least mentally you know what it's like to be healthy.
Yeah.
I know you know what it's like to be thin and thin.
Yeah.
I've always, ever since I've been little, I've always been the equivalent of 20 pounds overweight, you know? And right now I would love to be 20 pounds overweight. I weigh 240, 245-ish in that range there. And I should be weighing probably about 165. So I'm about 80 pounds overweight,
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, I think putting your mind to it and having your mind go, oh, this feels familiar. It knows it knows the ending to the movie. And it's excited for the ending. It's waiting for the chorus. My body doesn't know what that chorus is.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, there's so to think that you can have a healthy mind when your body's not healthy, is crazy.
Yeah,
because I mean, your mind is part of your body.
Exactly. It's a muscle.
Yeah.
If you're
and you can. I mean, there are things that you can do that'll, literally change the way your brain works.
Yeah.
And physically change your brain with just with behavior patterns. So it's ridiculous to think that the rest of your body changing would have nothing to do with your brain.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So, and I can tell you that from experience, packing on the weight has definitely made things more unpleasant. It's made things hard. And it's something that, I want to do because it's honestly, it's just made things difficult for me. It's made depression a lot easier to dig its hooks in.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's changed so many fundamental things, and so to answer where the potatoes come in.
Yes. See, that's what the title should just be. It's just potatoes.
About, I guess it was probably about a year ago, maybe. Maybe it was 2 at this point. Even time is blurry. Kevin Smith had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And his doctor told him, "You've got to lose 50 pounds immediately."
Damn.
And so he went on this diet where, to drop the weight immediately, he just ate potatoes for 2 weeks. So nothing but potatoes. No butter, no sour cream, no salt.
Yeah.
No, just potatoes. That's it. Just cooked or raw potatoes.
Wow.
That's it. And the science behind
How
it.
the fuck do you eat a raw potato?
Just like an apple.
Really?
Yeah.
I tried that once, and it's like not even palatable.
Well,
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
I mean, you should wash it first.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just yeah. Okay. Continue.
But there is some science behind it.
Yeah.
Now because of the resistant starch in a potato, the way that potatoes work is they will that resistant starch will bind to the fiber of the potato and essentially make it more of a fibrous food than a carby food. So it's dissolved and worked out differently by your body. Okay. And this is a secret that like weightlifters and actors and all kinds of people do. It's like some people will, if they got to cut some weight, they'll just do potatoes for a while and just cut the weight off. It's medically okay. They say that you probably shouldn't try to exercise too much because you're not going to be getting a lot of calcium and you're not going to be getting a lot of protein.
Gotcha.
There's very little of either of those things. You can take supplements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's a good idea. But then afterwards, you start introducing some raw vegetables.
Raw vegetables.
Yeah, raw vegetables.
Now, why raw as opposed to cooked?
There's a couple of different things behind it, but you can add some cooked ones too. But just make sure that they're like whole.
Yeah.
And that they're not like processed or anything.
Okay.
And essentially the idea behind it is it's mostly for people who have had like Kevin. Who, like, he had to lose some weight or he was going to die.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's mostly for people like that, like people who have had a very difficult time dropping some weight.
Yeah.
And under doctor's supervision, they're like, we're going to try this to get you to drop the weight quickly. And then it kind of, going on that mono diet at the beginning of just potatoes, what it does is it completely resets your palate.
Okay.
And it completely resets your relationship with food.
Yeah, yeah.
Because plain potatoes are terrible. And you start eating as a utility.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
When you start switching after a couple of weeks, when you start switching to stuff like corn and beans and things like that, it tastes amazing.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because now you're tasting all the stuff that used to cover up with all that bullshit.
With butter or, yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You start getting all these natural flavors. And then if you continue to do it, like several people have, like Kevin is still a vegan, and Penn Jillette famously lost 100 pounds doing this.
How long did it take him to lose that? Or Kevin, for that matter?
Kevin, let's see, he lost 17 pounds in the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then the weight just started pouring off. So he was huge.
Yeah, he was
really
like
huge.
He was like almost 400 pounds or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't long before he actually got himself down, like to 190.
Yeah, well, and the more you weigh, the more weight will come off quickly, especially if you go to a severe diet like that.
Totally.
Because it's calories.
Yeah.
It comes down to calories and that. And it's we won't get into the math. But,
but again, you're right. There's some science behind that. There's some math behind that. But I decided that I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna see if it works.
Yeah.
And
has it worked at all for you yet?
Yeah. I'm only on day 3, but I'm down 5 pounds
in 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most conventional diets.
Well, and I can see it.
Yeah.
Like when I look in the mirror, I can see it.
Really?
I can see like that already. Some of the bloating is going away.
Nice.
So it's things are kind of shifting back to where they are. I actually have a lot of energy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy considering how little calories and how little anything you're getting.
I mean, you can probably hear it in my voice. My voice sounds so much different than it normally does on the show. Normally I'm a fucking, a methed out Muppet. but no, towards the end of the day, I don't have any energy left. I'm done. I'm kaput at the end of the day. But I am starting to be able to sleep. Like I'm going back to all of the things that I learned I was avoiding or, just trying not to pay attention to. Like I said, the silence of being able to sit with myself. It was something that I had gotten comfortable with. I'd started figuring out meditation and stuff like that. But it's a lot easier. Eat a big old meal and have a couple glasses of wine. It'll knock you right out. And it's a lot easier than dealing with your problems.
That right there that's the slippery slope.
Yeah. Podcaster heal thyself.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at. I mean, that's where I'm at. To summarize, I was sad. And then I got less sad, and then I got fat, and it made me sad. And so now I'm eating like I'm sad. That's to make me happy.
Well, and that was a question I had for you earlier. What is the chemical that gets triggered when you eat a candy bar?
Dopamine.
Dopamine. Okay,
Yeah.
So what is the relationship between dopamine and serotonin?
They're cousins.
They're cousins. Okay,
Yeah,
so does food kind of fill that void a little bit?
Absolutely it does.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So that makes sense why if you're fat, you eat more.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because you're getting the dopamines with the chocolate or whatever shit you're eating.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I've discovered, though, is that I do love the challenge. Like when I was presented with this and it was like just nothing but potatoes for 2 weeks and see how much weight you can lose. I was like, oh, there's like a game show aspect to this.
Kinda, yeah.
And it's, I'm hopefully going to be able to find a way to talk about this and make it interesting, because then it'll make me want to keep doing it.
Absolutely. And we're doing that.
Yeah.
And so that, of course, when this episode comes out, you'll have already gone past that, and maybe you could talk about it, on the following episode or something. But
things have been strange. Things have been really strange. It's like I've realized that in so many ways, like I had put myself back in that box again where I thought I had figured it all out and I was coasting.
Yeah.
And now there are so many things just slapping me in the face with a wake-up call. Like, pay attention to your life. Pay attention to the people in your life. I got a message yesterday that my aunt is in the hospital. And she's not doing well, and some of that is due to choices, and some of it isn't. And either way, it's not fair. It just kind of is what it is. It comes for us all.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And
let's
so
laugh about it.
Yeah, but you make your choices, and you say, you know what, this is how I'm going to go out. It's not going to be fun or graceful, but I accept it.
Yeah,
you know, and it looks like that may happen.
How old is she?
I don't know. I honestly,
I mean, like 60s, 70s.
Yeah, like 60s,
60s. Yeah. That's
smoking and stuff.
That's
like forever. And,
exactly.
I'm not going to quit. This is how this is going to go.
Yeah. I mean, there's a point where that makes sense. My brother, he knew he had weeks, months to live, so he was like, "Fuck it, why quit smoking now? That's dumb. I'm going to." It makes me happy, and it makes me feel better. But when you're like, if you don't quit smoking, you're going to have a hole in your neck and a heart attack, and it's just like, I'll be fine.
I'll take the hole.
I'll take the hole. Yeah, exactly. I want to sound like Ned. But, it's just, it's one of those things where you know, everybody, I think deep down inside feels that they're going to live forever.
Yeah.
You know, to some degree.
I've sort of been confronting that a little bit lately too, because I'm realizing as well that, you know, my body is not reacting the way I want. You know, it's almost like, you know, you're kind of like I've sleepwalked through so many things, like, because I set myself up for a certain plateau of success, so to speak.
Yeah.
I automated everything good that was happening for me. You know what I mean? I set it on autopilot. Like
explain.
I set up the podcast. I set up going to work. I set up exercise. I set up meal times. I set up phone calls. I set up contacts. I set all of that up on a predictable, autopilotable schedule. And all I had to do was show up and half check in. And it bit me.
Interesting.
And I didn't realize I was doing it. I didn't realize at all that I was doing it. And the thing that really drove that home for me happened today.
Okay.
And this is going to be a difficult thing for me. I don't even, it's going to seem like a very small thing, probably.
Well,
but this small thing was, I mean, it felt like a nail in me.
Yeah.
What had happened was I call and talk to my mom once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
We have a rocky relationship. Everybody kind of knows that who listens to the show.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I love my mom, so we make it work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's her. I'm just saying it's us.
Yeah.
Like, we're just two people that if we didn't know each other, we'd probably be fighting on the internet. You know what I mean?
I love the analogy. Yeah. Yeah.
But we do know each other, and since we care, we don't fight on the internet. But I don't talk to my dad all that much.
Really?
It's so strange to me. I realized today that he's been a constant presence in my life, but mostly as an avatar, mostly as a marble statue to look up to, as like, you know, what would that guy do? And like, not even as a superhero, but like more along the lines of, this is a human being that struggled and made it work.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was the pinnacle, because, you know, none of us are going to be Superman, but some of us can be dude who got his shit together.
Yeah. Pretty good guy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. So I always kind of, you know, looked up to him that way. But like over the years, something strange has happened, and he's just become a 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to him on the phone today, and it was sort of a bummer, because it was like he just said a couple of things that were like, ooh, all right. You know,
like what?
Just you know, Fox News has really done a number on my father. And it's kind of strange because, you know, my dad was, you know, he always seemed to be pretty, like, he never seemed to reveal his cards as far as where he was at politically, but he always seemed to err on the side of decency and compassion. And so even like, though I as an adult, I figured, oh yeah, he's always voting Republican. I get it.
Yeah.
But that's because that's what you do when you're an old man. Like, that's what you do. But he's become kind of, you know, not savvy anymore. I mean, you know, he got his master's degree. He went to college. He was a substance abuse counselor. He understands psychology.
Yeah.
And I've kind of watched him sort of devolve into sort of a scared Midwesterner who still thinks Obama's going to come take his gun away.
Gotcha.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Obama's not. He's up. Fuck y'all. I'm in Chicago. I'm going to go parasailing. Peace.
Actually,
you know?
If you go in a bathroom, though, and turn the lights off and look in a mirror... and say his name.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah. Don't do that.
No, I wouldn't.
Boo.
Boo. But
you know, it's kind of weird. It's not even so much that we're politically opposed, because, I got Republican friends. I don't give a shit about that. It's that he seems confused and scared.
Gotcha.
That's what it is.
So he's no longer that avatar, again, of strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We age and we get weaker.
Yeah.
And he's in his 70s.
Yeah.
And to kind of see, what appears to be like some of his like mental faculties.
Yeah.
Just kind of moving, into old man territory. Kind of a bummer.
That is a bummer. Yeah, that's I can genuinely relate because my mom's in a home right now.
Yeah.
And she thinks she's on vacation.
Yeah.
She thinks
that's got to be hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least it gives me some comfort because she's happy-ish.
Yeah.
Because she thinks she's on vacation.
Right.
She'll tell me. I'll
I
call her.
That's not nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like she's like, get me out of here. Because there are some, I mean,
Right.
there are some people who do that, and it's sad.
Yeah, they come out of it, and they're like,
where the fuck am I?
Yeah.
No, every time, I'll talk to her, and every time I tell her I've moved to Colorado, and, and she'll be like, well, I got to work tonight, and I've got to, and it was her birthday the other day, and I'm like, yeah, you made it to 82, and she's like, shut up. And I'm like, no, really? I mean, Mom, you're 82. She's like, no, I'm not. And she used
How old are you?
Yeah. And she used to joke about it that way when she had her faculties more.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I'm like, she's not joking anymore.
Yeah.
Now when she says it, I think she genuinely thinks she's in her 60s. And in fact, there was one time I talked to her, or somebody in the family did, and she thinks she's in her 60s still.
Well, she doesn't know your brother died.
No. We don't. We haven't told her.
Yeah.
And I feel bad, but it's like, you know what? I don't want to have to keep telling her.
Yeah. Why relive that over and over?
Why relive it? Because
it's going to be bad enough to hear it once.
You got it. You know
what? At this point, why should she have to hear it at all?
Yeah. And some people would probably think we're shitty for doing that, and there's been some debate.
Maybe. But honestly, I mean, you're your own judge and jury on that.
Absolutely. And quite frankly, half the time, I mean, she's been losing her faculties for years. I mean, I've got 2 nephews, and their names are Sean and Michael.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, it was Sean and the other one. Seriously. So she's been kind of losing it for a while, probably since she's been about 70. And, she... So it's like one of us will call and she mixes up who we are and all that. So it's like if we told her Pat died, she probably wouldn't remember 20 minutes later, So it's like, and here's my fear. If we tell her that, I'd hate it for that to be the thing that sticks.
Yeah.
And then she resents all of us,
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, we'll just leave it. And she's going to find out.
Yeah.
Whether, I mean, I have said numerous times, I think there's something afterwards. Oh man, I can't stop coughing. But, either...
That's the lies coming out of you.
Yeah, well, I've been
the
coughing
lies.
a lot lately. That's a whole nother thing. But,
So tell me what the emotional forecast is. I mean, we've been going over the weather report for, the rainy days that we've had in our souls this past hour. And tell me what the weather holds moving forward. Like what? I mean, you don't even have to have anything concrete, but what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I've mentioned a foundation that I want to get started. I mentioned that a few weeks ago on one of my last episodes.
Yeah.
And so that's something I'm focusing on. In fact, I was going to meet with the SBA, which is a Small Business Administration, today. But that got rescheduled. Not by my part. I showed up and we got double booked. So, and he's very cool. This guy's going to meet me at a Starbucks up by me. So I think that's pretty neat. But I want to get that going. Again, launch the podcast. And
when do you anticipate bringing it back?
Probably after the new year. I'm thinking like July or so. But I'm kidding. No, I'll probably wait till the holidays are done and then launch again. I'm going to research into that podcast guest.
Early 2020.
Yeah, early 2020. I want to do like I did, have a few banked up because it's definitely nerve-wracking when I've got, I recorded it Saturday and it's going out Sunday. I've done that.
Yeah.
So.
And especially if you get, I mean, because life gets in the way.
Yeah,
things
totally.
happen. You get sick. You have somebody drop out at the last minute, or heaven forbid something dies.
Something dies.
And you've got to cancel something, and you've got nothing in the hopper.
Exactly. Well, and in fact, that was another thing that had happened that I just was reminded of. that I had a seizure. I have seizures from time to time after the cat died and with everything else going on. And the only thing we could think of is it's stress related.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where it's like, okay, they happen.
You can't
when
get those because you're ugly, right?
I had been having them for a while then.
Yeah.
That's only just no. I would have been. They've only developed the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So you're saying I've only been ugly the last couple of years? Well, thanks, man.
Yeah. It caught up with you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, gotcha. But but no, the it's one of those things that I just kind of deal with.
Yeah.
And it happens when I sleep, so it's not like it's anything that's a major issue, but it's still after I come out of one, I feel like I've been, working out for 7 hours straight.
Yeah.
My shoulder's still tweaked from it, because I do the shaking and all that kind of stuff. I did have my wife videotape it though, and I said some weird shit, so that was fun.
You ought to set that to music.
I think she deleted it though.
Ah.
I know. God, that would have been great, or at least something with it.
Yakety sax.
No. She didn't videotape the floppy bounce though. She just
okay.
videotaped me coming out of it.
Oh well, then who cares about that?
Yeah, exactly. Because the yakety sax with the fucking bouncing. Oh, that would be awesome, dude. I'm gonna get fucking home video cameras and just hook them up so that
Well, see, now you have goals.
I have goals.
Something to look forward to.
You know what? I'm gonna embrace the stress. I'm gonna get so stressed. I'm gonna, shit. I'm gonna go spend all my money on the lottery and bank on it. I'm gonna bank my rent on the lottery, and then boom, and then
seizure.
Yeah. But
it'll be another kind of seizure too when they come repossess your shit.
Yes.
Well, this has been really great. I'm glad that we had this talk because honestly, it's not often that we get to do this anymore. So what better way for friends to stay in touch than to be on each other's podcast?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you gave me an idea. I remember when you came back from season 2.
Yeah.
You had Alf interview you. Maybe I should have you interview me.
Absolutely.
That could be fun.
We'll get Alf to interview you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know you.
I don't know you.
What's your deal?
Yeah, exactly. He'd be like, it'd be, 3 minutes. Done. So.
And just let me know when you're going to start talking about something interesting, and we'll go.
We've
been going an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Thanks for talking to me.
Hey, definitely. Thanks for having me on, and thank you for being on mine.
Oh, man. It was a blast.
That's cool. This is almost like a podcast 69. I liked it.
It's a 72.
It's a 72.
Good night, kids.
Later. And thank you for joining us. I just wanted to let you know that I've got some interesting things coming up. I've got the 10th movie in the Haunted Saginaw series. It's A Haunting on Brockway Street. Going to be showing at the Temple Theater on November 15th and 16th for those of you who are in town. Or watch for it on Amazon Prime shortly after that. And I will see you in 2020.
And as for me, I will also see you in 2020 as the show winds down throughout the month of December. But as always, you can go to coffeeoversuicide.com for all of your coffee over suicide needs. And don't forget that we've got a link to the store in there where you can get your Laugh About Death t-shirts, your Coffee Over Suicide t-shirts just in time for the holidays. But as always, until next time, don't kill yourselves out there.
And have yourselves a good day and have yourselves a good life.
Welcome to
Let's Laugh About
Suicide. Or Coffee Over Death.
Or Coffee Over Death. Yes.
I'm Chris Parker Howard.
And I'm Tim Rooney.
This is a double whammy episode, so if you're subscribed to both podcasts, fuck you. You can't keep that.
We can't keep that. Nah, you know what? No, this is unconventional. Let's keep it. We don't mean fuck you. We mean love you.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So.
Loving.
I'm going to love you in the ass.
No, we can't keep it.
And have yourselves a good day, and I fucked that up. It's my tagline. Why would I do that? Have yourselves a good day, and I fucked.